What has happened to our boy Felipe Drogovic, the 2022 F2 World Champion? Now, if you know anything about F2, it's really the stepping stone to F1. And if I could rattle off a couple names here for you, if you look at all the people who've won the F2 championship, you'll see a lot of people in Formula One. You know, in 2017, you had Charles Leclerc become world champion. In 2018, you had George Russell become F2 champion. In 2019, Nick DeVries. In 2020, Mick Schumacher. In 21, Piastri. In 2022, Felipe Drogovic. Now, what do all those names have in common? Every single one of them got into Formula One except for Felipe Drogovic. And he's had an off season, which is normal to do. Oscar Piastri did this after he won the championship. He had to sit out for a little while before he could come with the right team. But Felipe Drogovic right now is the reserve driver for Aston Martin. And there's a lot of rumors going on that Aston Martin is not happy with Lawrence Stroll's son being at it, because Fernando Alonso has something like 149 points, 100 points more than Lance Stroll, which is the biggest points gap on the entire grid between two teammates. Now, the only problem is it seems like if they do get rid of Lance Stroll, they are going to replace him with somebody who has proven themselves, who can get points, like a Nico Hulkenberg or somebody else on the grid they could possibly buy out of a contract, or maybe return a guy who was a former Formula One driver. Even a Mick Schumacher has been in the rumors lately. But why not look at Felipe Drogovic? If you put him in the sim, this is a guy, I mean, think about all the people who've had great careers come from F2. Look at how fast Oscar Piastri has been right away. Look how well Charles Leclerc turned out and George Russell. F2 has a very good track record, but it's usually hit or miss. These guys either come in and light the world on fire, or they become some sort of like a journeyman driver, or eventually drop out of the rankings in Formula One like a Mick Schumacher. But at least try this guy out. I'd like to see how he's doing at these practice sessions, these FP1s, when he's replacing people. Is he on the limit? Is he near Fernando Alonso? Is he near the times of Lance Stroll, even though he's not constantly driving the car? It'd be interesting to see, but hopefully this guy doesn't end up in no man's land, because so many Formula One seats are being tied up. You know, if you're the reserve driver for this team, I don't really see an option for him on the 2023 grid other than this team, if they in fact get rid of Lance Stroll, which is very, suspect right now, considering his dad's the boss and his mom wants to come and see him at every Grand Prix. That's not going to create a good relationship between those two. But if Lance Stroll gets moved out, I imagine Lawrence Stroll has an exit plan to either another Formula One team or another situation for driving. But Felipe Drogovic, I don't hear about him anywhere. I mean, all those times you heard about Oscar Piastri when he had to come out of, when he had to take a sabbatical essentially from racing because he was hoping for a Formula One seat. You heard about him all the time. He was always in the press. Oh, is he going to go there? Does he ever? He has this relationship with Alpine. Oh, no, now McLaren. Oh, no, maybe Alpine will put him in the Williams. You don't hear a goddamn word about this kid, and that's not good for you in Formula One. To be a part of the news is always what's going to be good for you. And, he won the championship, but the only problem is he won the championship. He only won what? 1, 2, 3, 4. He won 5 races. That's decent, but there would be big lulls between race wins. He did win it by 100 points, but a lot of people said that the other teams were underperforming, sort of like how how Ferrari and Mercedes have been performing. Not only are they worse than Red Bull, they make mistakes all the time and lose huge chunks of points. So when someone beats them, it's by a huge margin. He did win the season by like 100-point margin, so it wasn't like a small victory. And he's beaten guys who are in Formula One now, like a Logan Sargent, and guys who appear to be coming into Formula One in the future, with Liam Lawson, who will eventually get to AlphaTauri. He's been assigned a seat at the minimum of the 2025 season. You have Theo Pourchaire, who's always in talks with Alpine. But this guy really should be able to get something done. However, when it comes to Formula One, your relationships financially, your national ties, the way contracts and how people are doing at certain teams really pull into play what's going to happen. Please let me know what you think, because I've done so much research on this kid and I haven't heard one peep out of anybody linking him to any other seat. Will he sit as a reserve driver for a couple more seasons until he gets a shot at one of these F1 teams? I don't really know his relationship other than Aston Martin, and I have researched it. This is not just coming from complete ignorance. It is because I can't find the information, but it's also not out there. Let me know what you think below. Also, subscribe and like.